on, guys? Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. Nadeska here with DJ Akademiks and Wayno. Now, look, I know it's not morning when you're watching this episode as it should be. So if you want to know why we're so late today, I'm gonna let my esteemed you're damn right you're gonna take this one. We did a lot of explaining for you this morning, so here you go.
I'm gonna take this one. Bad morning, but
that's not good enough. Tell them what really happened.
No, I fell asleep. I was sleeping.
You fell asleep.
Nah, it's one of those times that I should have probably just stayed up, and my phone died, so I didn't wake up.
And none of us could reach him.
He has a lot of people to apologize to because we were supposed to have a guest today, so it's not just us.
Right.
But you'll take care of that, right, Ak?
Oh, yeah. Yachty, I love you, man. I love you. We're going to get you on here.
I don't know if he's coming back to do this again.
That's my guy. I'm going to hit him directly today, yo. I'm going to hit him directly today. This was completely my fault, but it's one of those things that already happened, you know what I mean?
I can appreciate accountability. Ak, you did bad, so I appreciate your accountability. I have nothing else.
I mean, I couldn't come on here and spin. Like, what do you mean?
Because they already know what it is. They already know it's going to be his fault. Anyway, let's get into the show since we're already late. We're going to get to the Swizz Beatz album, but first let's start with video.
Blame it on Ak today, yo.
Blame it on Ak.
Blame it on Ak. Every time we're late, you could just blame it on him.
Blame it on Ak.
No, this one. I'm diving on the sword for this one. This one is nobody but me.
Pause. That was crazy.
Bro, that's like diving on the sword. Like, yo, what's up with these dudes, bro?
Go ahead.
All right, so yeah, video director Bennett recently did an interview with Complex. So in it, he's saying that SoundCloud rap is essentially no longer a thing since so many other streaming services have become popular. So he says, quote, unless you want to put a label on people who actually blew up from over the past couple of years, I don't think anyone coming out now is a SoundCloud rapper. SoundCloud is getting used less and less every day because of how easy it is to get your music on Apple Music and Spotify. So people are basically taking a step back. So can we agree that the era of SoundCloud rap is officially dead? What do you guys think?
Salute to Bennett, very, very dope dude, and also like one of the, I believe, pioneers in how media and just like visuals are changing in like hip hop now. He's absolutely right. Absolutely right. SoundCloud, it's not the same SoundCloud of yesteryear. Like the rappers who used to go there and just put their whole catalog on that platform to let it live without even going to the Spotifys and Apple Music. They're just realizing that platform has changed, and also the other platforms have stepped their game up in discovery. So again, the whole term of SoundCloud rappers were like this underground for music where people could go and find these artists that you wouldn't find on these other platforms. Now you're gonna get paid. You're gonna be on these bigger platforms essentially, and to be honest, it's already set up to promote you better than SoundCloud has ever done.
Oh well, I mean. That's a good take, but I don't want to shit on SoundCloud, like, because in order to know where you're going, you got to know where you come from, and a lot of these kids started their careers there. So I don't think that we should just throw it away only because you can make money somewhere else. It is still a streaming platform. Maybe they just need to reconfigure what it is and.
That's the thing. What's their pocket going to be, right? Because we've talked about this. They've also had a lot of funding issues. They keep getting funded, then they're running out of money. I don't know currently where they're at. I haven't checked recently, but they're going to need to come up with something else. So what is the pocket that they can now occupy and flourish in?
SoundCloud, and I'm not shitting on it, and even my opinion is that just now, the newer artists are benefiting more from the other streaming sites than SoundCloud. And at one point, it was only SoundCloud. They didn't look to anyone else. Now they're going elsewhere before SoundCloud. And partly it's a reason of they could make money while they're trying to get discovered. And everybody got to eat, even if it's like $20 off your music, it is encouraging, right? And SoundCloud just added their monetization program, which is called SoundCloud Premier, and salute to them, shit, Lil AK's on it. But they just also had a controversy, and I'm only bringing this up to show how they're late to the party on a lot of things that if you were the first to market, like they had a whole like underground of a genre to themselves. You can't be late on everything. Like the contract, which a lot of people like blew up at recently, the contract that they have all these independent artists sign, it's like some wild, like take your rights. You can't ever sue us. We can do whatever to you because you're putting your music on our platform. Wow. And because of that, like a lot of independent artists said, well, this is not a contract for the creator, which it doesn't even mirror the contracts that Spotify or Apple Music has. And that's my only thing with SoundCloud. We thought, or I thought it would be way more progressive, seeing that, you know, they got offered, people offered to buy it I can't remember what the price tag was, and they turned it down, and I felt like it's only been going down from there.
Didn't Chance the Rapper like jump in and try to save SoundCloud as well? I mean, they now looking at what you said, how you put it in perspective, they've had a lot of shots, right?
Yeah.
They've had a lot of shots. I mean, the crazy thing is that now there's gonna be a lot of people that's late to SoundCloud. Like, they're gonna be people that still use it. It's like, yeah, I'm on SoundCloud. That shit is gonna become like a CD. It seems like seriously, the way music keeps evolving from tapes to CDs to digital, and now it's digital, and now it's gonna be people like, yeah, I'm actually on SoundCloud. Like, damn, you're not on Apple Music or Spotify. So, you know, we talked about this yesterday. If you can't adapt, then you become extinct.
Yeah,
Hopefully they don't. But.
And some other like just even critiques. And again, it sounds like I'm shitting on them, but I rock with SoundCloud so long for so many years. I hated seeing how stagnant they were, and I hated to see other people just like lap them real quick. Like, I know for me, like just as a music listener, a fan of music, man, the thing about Spotify and Apple Music that does it for me, and shoot, that's one of the things that, you know, when people were considering like, yo, should they mess with Tidal? Like, people just like a dope app that's easy to use, an easy interface. Man, that SoundCloud shit is like convoluted. Like, it's not a dope app to use.
Right.
You get me? A dope service it's been, but not a dope app to use. So seeing them drop the ball on those things, I'm like,
you know what else hurt them too? They also don't produce any content. Like, you know,
Original content.
Original content. I mean, when you look at like Apple, they have all these different things. Spotify, all these different things. Even Tidal has its own content. They don't really have their own content. And now, even down to not just an artist, but a person who's a podcaster, right? A podcaster could jump on Apple and then make money, or Spotify, or Tidal. So, seems like Spotify is at the end, like, not gonna get to the finish line.
you mean SoundCloud? And
I mean, SoundCloud, my fault.
100% right with that, right? Like, they watch all their great podcasts and their great artists. Like, for example, I mean, they do give out some awards. Like, they gave Uzi, like, an award for having the most streams in a year. But when you see what Chance did with Apple, you should like, yo, it's monkey see, monkey do. I would look at the artist who's popping on my platform.
Yeah.
Like, X blew up on that platform.
They could have kind of revolutionized an award show. Like, if they would have made their own award show and created content out of that, that would have been something, because that almost became a genre, SoundCloud rapper, like, you know? So they dropped the ball.
Even more than like these streaming services. You know, when the streaming services were trying to do these you get exclusive rights to the music if you give this amount of money. Like, right, Chance got $500,000 from Apple, right? And notoriously, Drake had an exclusive window with Apple Music, right? If you're looking at SoundCloud, who's dealing, and their like bread and butter is mostly independent artists, you don't even have to worry about a label bitching about some shit like that. So if you fund the people that's already supporting, this is the biggest lesson that most platforms learn. Vine has learned it, God rest their soul. Because seriously, if you don't support the people who help build you up, you end up dying. When the top Vine people said, oh, word, I think that's another story where they went to Vine to say, hey, listen, we're bringing all this traffic here with the most popular people. It's like 20 of them. They say, hey, how about you give us some money to help fund the content that we're providing for your platform? Vine spit in their face and said, nah, fuck you. They all went to YouTube. What happened to Vine? Right?
But are you saying it's similar here? Because it seems like they had good relationships, because Chance got up at the Grammys and basically thanked them.
Well,
you know what I mean? And Wayno's right. He did say that he wanted to help, but it just seemed like they had a lot of funding issues and business things that they didn't handle well.
Well, they have a great platform, but when you're not directly supporting the people and you're not like making those relationships, like, you can't let certain podcasts get off of SoundCloud and now be an exclusive somewhere else.
Right.
That you made them hot.
You know what's crazy about all of this? Like, you know, it's a place that hasn't gone anywhere. We never question them. Like, Dat Piff. Like, Dat Piff is more potent. Not for real. Like, they still do exclusives and all of that, and it seems like they caught on to the game. Now, of course, they're not as big as all the other ones, but kids still go there to put out their music. You know?
Do they? I didn't know. I still have the app. I still jump on for mixtapes, but I didn't know if other people do it.
I go in there to listen to all the old mixtapes that you can't find on YouTube or somewhere else. But yeah,
Dat Piff is one of the ones that weathered the storm. There was a whole storm of, there was a cultural, or just, I just want to say, like a monetary sweet spot for like mixtape apps. There was one every week. Shit, I was looking around like, could somebody come to me with one that I could publicly endorse? Because what it is was that, like, say G Herbo, right? He's in a record contract, but he might want to drop a tape, and that's before everybody was putting their quote-unquote tapes on Apple Music. He's going to give us some exclusive shit. we could probably just like a low amount of money in comparison, right?
Yeah.
Here's 30 grand. We get your tape exclusively.
Right.
Now we got your tape on our site. We're getting hella people who's gonna subscribe for no ads. We're running ads all the time.
Yeah.
You're making a killing till the record labels say, wait, you're paying the artist directly. We technically own the artist's music.
Right.
Why don't we just do the same thing, cut you out, and just work with Apple?
Right.
That point changed for, you know, like the My mixtapes, the Live mixtapes, Spinrillas. That Piff as because they're the OG of that, right? They kind of still maintain and still like flourished around. So.
Yeah, they also, when they started putting like people going platinum, like off of like their downloads and stuff, like they had a thing where if you get a certain amount of plays, they will put you as gold or platinum. Like that became like a thing for kids that was putting their shit out. Like, all right, I'm gonna do some numbers here. But it's kind of shifted. Like now, the corporate structure and everything made everything shift to where they might be cutting out labels. Like the last conversation we was having. You know?
Right.
And also about that last, I love conversations like this.
I know.
Cause it's numbers, yo. He love them fucking numbers.
I talked to somebody at
Except
Apple.
for time. That's the only number he don't like is time.
Wayno.
You got every little joke about time.
It's gonna be like
started,
3 more
yo,
today.
yeah.
Like 3 more today.
So I talked to somebody at Apple and they're like, for them, the way they're angling it, like, you know how people show up like, yo, you got a gold plaque for this. You got a platinum plaque. And we saw it with Drake, and we saw it with Khaled, because they got awards by like the top dudes at Apple Music. They're hoping that streams become the new platinum plaques. Like, yo, I did 1 billion streams.
Right.
You get me? And they're giving out plaques for that. But that's recognizing how your platform is influencing shit and trying to change the benchmarks.
Right.
Rather than just saying, oh, I went platinum on whatever thing. Like, Drake didn't even celebrate him going platinum. He celebrated him getting a billion streams for his album. So.
Things always shift.
Maybe you should go consult for them. Mr. Pakawacho over here.
Yeah.
What's the check
Look
looking
how his eyes light up whenever.
Yeah. Hey, so you say something like that. He started
What's the
thinking.
check looking like?
He had a fast.
You can negotiate me a deal?
I got you.
Wayno, you got it?
Shit, I'm down.
Oh yeah, we got a
Let's
manager
go.
on set. What am
Let's
I
go.
talking about? All right, so some more new music. All right, so we talked about this Diplomats album coming. So the last album dropped in 2004, Diplomatic Immunity 2. Diplomatic Ties is dropping the 22nd. What is that, like a week and a half away? So we got a new song called Sauce Boys. Let's listen.
Dollar lemonade. She said, why? Cause it's like the play, yo. We taking some days off. You coming in now, girl. This is the Addy. Be there, be square. 10 a.m. is the takeoff. No time to tongue wrestle. 200.
All right, Harlem, you're up.
Okay, so look. Now y'all might be a little surprised at me because I don't like the sauce thing. Like
I feel uncomfortable saying Sauce Boys just now.
Yeah, I don't like the sauce thing, and I feel like
Did you like Too Much Sauce? That was the last
I
time
love Too Much Sauce. I did love that song. But I feel like for where they are at in their career, they don't need to use that word. It feels like trying to be relevant a bit. And the Diplomats never they didn't fit in. That's why they stood out so heavily. But I'm still very excited for this album. I'm very happy that they squashed their differences that they had over the years and that they're doing something. You know, people always say, oh, they should have did it 15 years ago, or they should have did it at this time. No, it's the perfect time for them. And I think that the people who love their music are gonna be happy about that. Diplomats have influenced like damn near every young kid that's come up today.
Yeah.
You know, because majority of them was 10 years old when they was having their reign. Now they're 20 or 21. So I'm looking forward to it. What you thinking about, Ak?
Sign me up for a triple album with this. If you add Cam, I'm serious. I'm saying, yeah, you see, you ain't think I was gonna do that.
I know he's gonna go real hip hop
No
on me.
Cameron slander will be tolerated.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
Cam, Jewels, Jim, they got Freaky on it, and the Heat Makers, that's the thing.
Yeah,
the
Heat Makers.
necessary cooks got to be in the kitchen, okay?
Right.
And once we got the Heat Makers with Dipset, I listen to them all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I still listen to their, like, I listen to Diplomatic Immunity.
1 and 2.
1 and 2, like, I listen to everything that they've produced together. Like, I remember even the post, like, Heat Makers era when, you know, they were working with other people, just didn't feel the same. So the fact that they're back together, I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm happy for the Diplomats. I'm from Harlem. I'm very happy for the Diplomats. I'm very happy for these guys, especially for Jewels as well. You know, with all the legal stuff he's had hanging over his head, it's good to see him out there and working and trying to make something out of all of this. So salute to the Diplomats.
All right, November 22nd, coming up soon. In the meantime, even more music. So you had a chance to listen to the Swizz album?
Yeah, well, more songs than yesterday.
Yo, question. I'm always curious what people like. Should we change the time of this show? We've already moved from 11 a.m. to 11:30. Well, first of all, you would show up on time, so we wouldn't have to wait for 3 hours.
Change to where?
No, I don't know. Should we just change it to an afternoon show?
Hell no.
Are
Now
you
we
sure?
good.
Who's
One day?
good?
Huh?
This ain't one day.
One
nigga.
day, my
One
man.
day?
This ain't one day.
Nah, it's like one day
It's
for the
like
last,
once,
like,
once a week we can't find you in the morning.
you wildin'. You're definitely wildin'.
All right, y'all. Let's
All
get
right,
to the next topic.
let's get to it.
All right, so Swizz dropped his new album called Poison on Friday. 10 songs. Do you want to add something? Stop looking at me. I see you. What's good?
Go ahead.
Okay,
Got that
good.
twinkle in his eye.
So 10 tracks. Remember, J.O.A.T was like co-executive producer on this, which is really interesting. A lot of features: Wayne, Kendrick, Pusha, 2 Chainz, etc. Let's listen to a snippet of Echo.
We was Times Square pioneers, 40 deuce, 40 below boots, 40 ounce brew, the true bishop from Juice. Running wild loose, me and my 40 troops was stupid. Style of a snorkel coats, polo gooses, ruthless. Goons and wolves, bail jumpers. Everybody from everywhere, they was trying to jump us for pumping.
This one's been a long time in the making, so that was featuring Nas. What do you guys think?
I wish Nas's album would have sounded more like that. The album Nasir,
Blame
produced by
Kanye.
Yeah, I wish it would have sounded more like that. But I feel like this is a perfect project for right now to level out the playing field of everything. Like, we getting a lot of the young guys. I'm happy for the young guys putting out their shit and being able to live and thrive. But this, we first off, we don't really get compilations like we used to. This kind of reminded me of like the Rough Riders albums, you know, early on, because the Rough Rider compilations used to have a lot of the different artists on them. It was more heavily with Rough Rider artists, but surprisingly, who has one of the hardest songs on here is Thugger. The joint with
Why are you
Thugger,
so surprised, Wayno?
yo, because of the
Thugger be
beat.
floating, man.
No, but he's not floating
Have you
on
been
that shit.
doubting the skill this whole time, Wayno?
I've never
Just
been.
say it.
Wait.
Just say it.
Let's not play here. Let's not.
I caught on high by Thugger when we were all in. I think we were going to McDonald's. We're going to some industry party.
He's
this
lying.
nigga almost jumped out the window.
That's a fact. I was there to verify this did happen.
Right, yeah, I was sick of y'all when y'all put on high. But I was surprised only because of the style. Like, he's rapping. Like, it sounds like what would have been.
rapping.
Yeah, he's
Wayno.
rapping. I mean,
Wayno.
wait. He's not. Of course, he's not 100 bars.
Wait, just say you fucking love it, bro.
I do love it. I love it. But
He's rapping.
my favorite song on there is the joint with Nas. I really like the joint with Pusha, and I like the joint with Styles P and Jadakiss and Kendrick. They go back and forth, and then Kendrick throws his shit on. And Jim Jones shit. Jim Jones had one of the best records on there as well.
And that Wayne record hard as fuck.
Yeah, the Wayne record. I just think that
So
this
10 great songs then.
10 great songs. Well, 11. One is left on. It's a joint with him and Swizz, French Montana. It's called Swiss Montana, right? That's the last one. 11 great songs. It just evens it all out. Like, it evens everything out. That one is not on. It's not on this list, but it's on there. It just evens everything out in the game right now. I feel like we need to have more of this sound, and it's the right time for Swizz to put something like this out.
Well,
That's my
executed.
review.
No, you're right about that. I think I heard about like 8 of these joints, and the one with Thug, I had to click to that immediately. That's just fire.
What about the one with Gigs? Badman.
Watch your
Listen,
mouth.
man.
Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth.
Watch your mouth. Link up TV and be on you.
Listen,
Link up.
I want to be at the Mobile Awards next year with Gigs.
Our invite
announcing
is still
some-
open, so don't fuck it up for all of us.
Right.
Oh, wait, didn't
They
I
actually
already?
want us to come through
Oh,
next
they want us to
year.
go? All right, well, let's do it. Anyway, listen.
What?
I rebuke you, okay?
What?
Check this out. Now, this is great. This is kind of, I'm starting to think, man, the producers are making better albums than the artists. The producers are taking more time. They're crafting out pockets of different sounds that's different from the landscape that what we already got.
Right.
Because the rappers, they're just coming and regurgitating the same shit. That's how I'm interpreting. Of course, Swizz Beatz, he doesn't fit in with this new, like, yo, let's drop something every 2 days. But this was definitely a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
You get me? And also, and maybe sometimes I'm guilty of this. When I see niggas who are legends or older come with some projects, I'm like, all right, here to date this shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
It wasn't that dated.
There you go.
It wasn't that dated.
It wasn't dated at all. And
dated.
you know what? Swizz's last album, I think, was like 2007 when he
been a
had his
minute,
Me Bitches on there and all of that with Wayne. But
it was nostalgic, but not nostalgic to the point that you're like, it's irrelevant to today.
Right. It wasn't held in a
You
place.
feel me?
The music on there. And you know what I like about this? Because you can have, we in a world where you can have this and you can have Metro's album and you don't have to pit them against each other.
Yeah.
You could really like Metro's album and really like this, and both of them can coexist. So
Hey, I'm all down for producers dropping albums. No more collab albums, no more
producer albums.
Yeah,
Just
producer
producer
albums.
albums.
I heard my nigga Boy Wonder got some shit coming. I
Oh,
wanna hear
come
that.
on. He's a cheat code. Like, Boy Wonder's a cheat code. If he drops an album, oh, man.
And I had a long talk with him too, and he guaranteed me, because he's been working on this for a long time. That's the thing with a producer, like, you don't put them on the clock, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, they do their thing and they have time to, okay, they got a record here, and throughout the artists they work with, they try to mix and match and fit people in.
You can't, because, I mean, the thing is that rappers aren't always received the way they are forever. Producers are like coaches. Like, a coach could coach longer than a player can play. So, even if Dr. Dre says he's dropping something, people still get excited for that. Tell me the last record you really know, like a person like, oh, nah, I know he did this and that and the third, unless you're a producer. So production, I always say producers need to get more credit because they are the foundation of sound. If we have no dope beats, we have no dope rhymes. So salute to Swizz Beatz, salute to Metro. If Boy Wonder's dropping something, I want to hear that shit.
Hey,
This is the first time I've seen you both like equally excited about something,
okay,
by the way.
well, I'm gonna bring back an old conversation.
What? Here he goes,
And
about to go
no,
down.
well,
We're doing so well right now.
Right, we doing so good.
listen, for everybody sitting at home, it's a debate show. We can't agree too much. if we just like, yo, right.
Right.
No, but
Let's hear it.
it's not even. It's
So what's
not
the whole
even,
conversation that you want
Yeah,
to
no,
bring?
it's not even like a debate though. It's like kind of thinking about, seeing we agreed on that point, even on the producer point. Remember when Russ said, it's the producer's fault that we keep hearing the same sound, right? And even though he's bad at saying shit, so it came across like he was trying to shit on other producers, but perhaps what he was talking about, and I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to.
It was Metro who responded on
Yeah,
Twitter,
Metro
right? Well, that's perfect. All right, carry on.
I get that, but still, in a bunch of these new artists, like music that they're dropping every week, does sound alike, and the reason why is they're all working with the same niggas. You get me? So I'm just saying, perhaps if producers, and not that it's a fault of each particular producer, but if the producers worked as hard to create different sounds, right? Like as they do for, like, you see how Swizz carved out some other shit. Even Metro for his project, and he's with all these niggas. He carved out some other shit for his project.
Right.
You get me? Maybe we would hear some more variety.
Well,
in
this
sound.
was Metro
Or maybe
responding
Russ on that
to Russ.
bullshit,
Maybe
and-
he was
well,
responding. This was the album.
Yeah.
To tell him to shut up.
Exactly. I mean, with Russ, you know, with him, it's always the messenger, right? Cause if Metro says that same shit, we not receiving it the same way, right? And
Probably says it way differently too.
he says it way differently, but if Metro said the same shit verbatim, people wouldn't really question him, only because he's really worked hard to get to where he's at today. And you can see it. A lot of people don't know a lot of shit about Russ. A lot of people don't know that Russ actually produces all the shit. Or they like, why do you keep telling us that you produce your own shit?
I was gonna say, I thought we all knew. that he
But
produces it.
I think that there's some truth there. Because there is a lot. I'm not knocking nobody getting their bread. Like, that's one thing. I'm not knocking the hustle, but I can knock your dedication to the craft, you know? And I feel like a lot of producers just fucking lazy. A lot of producers don't produce. They just make beats. It's two totally different things. You might be called a producer, but a lot of people are just making beats. But if we're gonna keep getting dope projects from producers, I got a list. So
I'm glad you guys are so
What's the list?
passionate about this, because
I can't think of it offhand, but I would because when I think of all of these different producers, that's why when you said Boy Wonder, I'm pretty sure Boy Wonder has like fucking records that Drake has probably done with Eminem, or Drake has probably done with 2 Chainz that nobody's ever heard, that's phenomenal, just sitting in his hard drive. So when you bring up a Boy Wonder and all the shit that we did get to hear and all the people that he's worked with, I know he got shit sitting in his stash. Even, I would say on the younger side, even Young Chop. I know Young Chop probably got some fucking ill-ass Chief Keef shit. He probably got some Chief Keef shit with somebody we would never expect, that's never gonna get used. It's a lot of great records that never get used, you know?
Very true.
Producers are the new EPs in terms of making EPs of projects that make great shit instead of just putting shit out, man.
Right.
So 6ix9ine confirmed that his next album is gonna drop November 23rd. It's like release after release. It's called Dummy Boy. The last one did pretty well. I'm confused. Like, what do you guys think what are your expectations for this, considering the year he's had? It's been a lot of legal stuff up and down, but he's had a couple more big records. Like, what are you guys actually looking for on this project? Because I feel like after a while, you said a few of the songs kind of sound the same after a while. Do you want more range from him or just more of what he's been doing?
Well, what I expect it to be loud. And what I mean by that is I expect a lot of energy, right? I expect a lot of energy. I always say that 6ix9ine is not, the worst rapper I've ever heard, but I think, me personally, I think he's gonna change a lot of shit sound-wise. I think he's gonna change a lot of shit sound. I think it's gonna be loud, but it's not gonna be the same beats he was using before. I don't really know what to expect. He's the most unpredictable motherfucker on the planet, so I don't know what to expect. He might be saying this and that shit is...
R&B album or?
Yo, he might be saying this and the shit is 3 songs. Like, you don't know, I don't know what to expect from 6ix9ine. He's very unpredictable, so I can't say that I'm looking forward to it, but I also can't say that, like, I don't want to hear it, because I do want to hear what he has to say, but I don't know how it's coming. It's all how it's delivered.
All right, tell us what you know.
Yeah, what you know, because you know some shit.
Well, the thing is, 6ix9ine is he's one of those people who love to prove people wrong, right? So, like, if you look at the string of records he dropped, right? He came with Gummo, he came with Kuda, he came with Kiki, and everyone's like, yo, you shout all the time. Then he threw a little mix into it. The G.O.A.T, he's almost like whispering on it. He did another record, which is a Spanish record. So he's trying to change and not only be seen as
he is putting out an R&B album. Is that what you're saying?
No. Well, I've heard some of the people.
I don't know if he's trying to change either.
No. Well, this is what he knows, and this is the conversation I've had with him. He knows, like, that shouting shit, it's like Meek. That shouting shit, that's your signature. But I think he wants to give some variety that it doesn't get boring. You get me? Don't shout on all the tracks. Shout on 8 out of 11, and the other 3 do some other shit. Right. Regardless, I've heard some of the features he got, which I won't give up here until he gets.
Well, you did just tell us that it's 11 tracks, so thank you.
No. Well, no, he's still making it now. That's the thing about, like, you could announce an album and it's half done, right? Like, he's just gonna lock in the studio until maybe like 5 days before to turn everything in.
Will Little AK be on this album?
I don't know. But from everything I heard, and you gotta, I was talking last night to 21 Savage. Randomly he hit me, and we were literally talking music. Super dope. His perspective, I want him to come up here, but whatever. Anyway, one of the things he was saying, he's like, yo, he could never be one of the artists that just drops like multiple projects, like a lot of projects per year.
And we thank you for that, 21.
You get me? And he really he likes to give people a break.
Right.
And you know what? Just comparing like just that sentiment to 6ix9ine, he dropped an album already this year. This would be his 2nd project. And I would have said he should have chilled and kept working those records. But he dropped like 4 singles since then. So if you're gonna keep dropping singles, you gotta put an album out, right? If you were gonna keep working that first album, which that's what I think the difference is, like a 21, he's gonna work that album for a year. The Post Malones, they're working that album for a year.
Working his whole album.
Yeah, because Nipsey ain't gonna give you 3 projects in a year, right? Like you might get a tape or a couple songs, maybe like some Lucy shit, but you're not gonna get these full-on projects. So I think this is a not only a concerted effort to probably cashing on his hotness that still is going up. He dropped like the Fifi record that was the #2 record in the country.
Is that gonna be on there?
Yeah. He said Fifi's, well, the numbers gotta be good, right?
Like exactly, like look, he playing that game, the same shit everybody else is saying. Cause who is it? Nicki. Everybody got on Nicki. She put the shit on her album so her shit could be boosted. What's the record now?
Nah, the only difference is that that's not Nicki's like song.
I know it ain't, but what's the numbers on Fifi now? Like
Fifi's still a top 30 record.
That's what I'm saying. So when his shit come out,
he's already doing.
Cause I seen his caption. He's like, yo, watch me sell more than all these niggas. See, they got a little plan.
Everybody playing that game, and to be honest, he would be dumb not to. Like those records were worked as singles, roll them into the album. They'll probably drop 1 or 2 more singles off the album, and then screw it.
That's not cheating. I just want to.
Nicki will let us know.
No. Wait.
Right.
Everybody's cheating. That's what's my thing. Like, if we all selling weed, bro, don't call the cops when your shit get robbed. You get me? Like everybody, no, nigga, we all
I don't know if that made sense, but all
Like,
right.
Wayno's a real drug dealer.
Whoa. I do not indulge in anything that partakes in any streets. Don't listen to this guy. he just basically let everyone know that he would tell on me, like, so.
The way Wayno just said that, like that was a joke.
Yeah, you just really tried to like.
Wayno
You
just
can't be making reckless jokes like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Freddie Gibbs, pass the blunt this way next time.
Yeah, but don't,
Such a waste.
don't pass
Not
Act the
even
Blunt.
drugs in Cali. That's not even drugs.
Don't pass Act the Blunt, man.
Pass
But you know, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes.
Yo, I think we live in an age now of capitalizing off your buzz and your hype. You see Lil Baby, he put out multiple projects. He's a rookie, and he put out multiple projects. You see the QC, well, the Migos, they're hot. They're dropping a bunch of solo albums. Let's capitalize on the hype. If we're working off streams where it's all about clicks, if we could see in the algorithm that you're super hot and you're generating a lot of streams, why not feed the beast and capitalize by not only the good numbers, but essentially money?
Right.
Again, we as fans may not like it, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody's using that cheat code.
Sure.
I ain't
True.
mad at it. Get your money, young man.
All right, let's see, album coming soon. So before we get to this fan question, real quick, we want to congratulate Rick Ross. He just welcomed his new son to the world, and you know he's rich. He gave him one of these celebrity names. His son is Billion Leonard Roberts. What a name.
Yeah, that's lit. You know what I mean? I have nothing to say but
Billy's,
good things.
I'm just trying to think of like the nicknames that kid is going
Billy.
to have. Right?
Bill.
Billy
or Bills. You know what I mean?
Bills.
But salute to Rick Ross, man. A child is a blessing. So I hope him and his lady and the child are all doing well.
What kind of celebrity nickname would you guys give your kids?
I'm
It's going to
definitely-
be something with numbers or.
No, well, I'm a junior, so I have to continue the legacy of naming my kid after me.
Oh,
but
that's so trash.
Oh,
I'm a
Vito's
second.
so
I'm a second
anti this.
too. I am because I'm second to my dad. Like we got the same exact name.
see, Wayno, listen,
I have kids.
listen.
so.
Well, I'm the second in line from great men, so I got to continue.
Damn.
along.
So you basically said my dad ain't a great
Nah,
man.
I'm saying, if you're just willing to shit on that whole legacy of naming your kid after you, well, I don't know how you're feeling.
Listen, but I mean, at the same time, you got to look at it as this, right? The thing is that I didn't want. I got a lot of like my dad shit from him, like so people would think that I should be like my dad because we have the same name and I look exactly
What?
like my dad. No, when you're a man,
I
like
get
you're
it.
held to that standard.
They expect you to be the same person as a person
Damn
who
near,
created
right?
you.
Exactly. That's why you didn't see when LeBron was like, "Yo, the biggest thing," he said, "the only thing I regret is naming my son LeBron James," because when you don't live up to that,
They were going to be in his shadow regardless. If
I
they
know,
tried to
but
play
it's
ball.
worse when
That's
it's the
Harlem.
same name.
Sorry.
That's because heartless.
I don't know.
No,
like,
I feel like I just feel like also, in the same sense, it could really stunt your growth because of all that pressure. It could also inspire you. Like
Right.
you meant to be great. You get me?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But the second kid I'm gonna have, I'm naming something
6'9".
just obnoxious.
it's going to be
It's not
something
right.
terrible. It's going to be something
Nah,
terrible.
it's gonna be
It is.
something
It
dumb.
is.
Name his son Daniel.
Nah, it gotta be like a 4-letter word. Like everybody got like some cool
4-letter
name.
word?
Yeah, something like that. Like
Crazy. I mean, I chose some
Kylie's
of my.
kid named Stormy, right?
That's what I'm saying. Axe going to come up
Stormy's a
with
nice
some wild
name.
shit.
Well, it's very unique. I mean, I can't name my kid Mike. I can't, like, I'm sorry, like, that's out for me. There's no Mikes coming.
We'll see.
All right, I feel
man.
like you have some
But salute to
time
Rick
before
Ross,
the
man.
babies
Salute to
come
Rick
in.
Ross.
Shout out to Ross.
And the young man Billion.
My homie
he's-
named his son, which is my godson, Neo. Just like 3
Neo?
letters.
Neo, N-E-O.
Yeah,
Why, he called him the one? Is that the reason why?
I guess so. He is the one. Fuck it.
He's the one.
Sure.
All right. Time for at least one fan question. We'll see how we're doing on time. So this one is from, it looks like a made-up Twitter name, but like it's actually a very good
Wait,
question.
are we making up Twitter?
No, this
Twitter
is like a
questions?
real question, but what kind of name is that? It looks like a generated one. But anyway, it's a real question, so I don't think they're trolling us. But anyway, how important to a producer is his tag? When I hear take heat, fuck these dudes up, I already think the song is fire, and who has the best tag?
The person who has the best tag at the moment is the person making the hottest beats. I'm not gonna lie. If the hottest song in the country is a murder beat song, when I hear murder on a beat, so it's not nice, fire. You get me?
If a producer doesn't have a tag,
It doesn't always mean that. But if a producer, I actually like sometimes when producers don't use their tags, depending on the record that they make. Because I've heard producers, I've heard Jalil Beach made a beat one time. I mean, the tag was in there, but you wouldn't, if you hear the beat, you wouldn't know that he produced it based on what you're used to. I think that the tag is important, but sometimes you don't need the tag. You know, some of the best producers, like I say a person like a Ninth Wonder. Like Ninth Wonder doesn't have a tag.
So you pick and choose, but then
I
think
pick
about
and
how
choose,
the
it
tag
depends.
like took Metro to another level. That became such a pop culture thing that
It depends on what type of like it's like being an artist. It depends on what type of producer you are, right? So Metro has a few of them. You know what I mean? Like Metro, he used to have one. Metro Boomin wants some more. If your Metro don't trust you, I'ma shoot you. And there was another one like murder on the beat, so it's not nice. He got murder. Fuck these niggas up. No, that's Take Keith. And then
London on the track, he got some dope ones.
Yeah.
And he got that one by Thug. Every time I hear that, it reminds me of when he was lacing Thugger with those all classics. I think that was Barter 6?
Yeah.
All classics.
like what's his name? Murder got another one with I think Kodak said it. He's like, I'm gonna show you how to get away with murder. That one. Yeah. So I mean, it depends. It varies, yo. It varies.
But it's definitely a signature. But I understand what you were saying before with not putting a tag. I forget, we had a producer come up here, I don't know if it was Mustard, and they said, yo, they were producing a beat that wasn't like the majority of the beats we heard.
Right.
And because they didn't want to like fuck with the listener or make the listener like already think it's something it's not,
Right.
they didn't put the tag there.
Right.
You get me? So there's a little psychology to it. Like
It
when
is.
you hear it, if I hear right now, Take Keith fuck these niggas up, I'm like, oh shit,
It
we about to
depends.
have that bounce. Like, we
Exactly.
about to have that bounce.
Exactly.
So if he just came in with like R&B record, I'd be like,
But like I
you
look
gotta
at
use a secondary tag for this.
I also look at like the rappers who are producers. Like J. Cole doesn't have a tag. Tyler the Creator doesn't have a tag, right?
would that work?
If they
You
had
need,
a
like
tag.
an alter ego then?
I
for
mean,
your production?
Swizz Beatz is not a rapper, but he's rapped on songs and he has a tag. He had a lot of different tags though.
But he's way more producer. It's like Cole.
No,
like,
no, not even that. Swizz Beatz is actually an instrument on the track.
Huh?
Swizz Beatz is an instrument on
No,
his
he
own
is,
beat.
but he
You
is
feel
an
me?
instrument. Swizz Beatz has been an instrument on his track. He's rapped on his track. He's produced the track.
Like he'll be hey, like he'll be that's like
Yeah.
a fucking instrument.
I mean, your voice is an instrument, and I think artists need to understand that to make better music. But the tag thing doesn't hurt, and it can help. But sometimes you don't want to hear tag every single damn beat.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes you just want to enjoy the music,
All right.
Like Mike Will made it. Like when you hear Mike Will made it, you know what to expect.
Oh, Boy Wonder has told me the same thing about tag. What's Boy Wonder's tag? I was telling him, I was like, bro, you need like some really very like known signature tag, because like some of these joints he produced, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know he did Tati, God's Plan, all this shit. I was like I wouldn't know until I look up the credits. But for other people, you know it instantly as soon as the beat is played.
Well, some people want you to care a little bit more about the music as well. Like MMG, like remember how big the Mama made? Like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
that was
like
legendary.
that was insane. Like that might be one of the biggest tags in the game in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Very true. All right, you guys want to do one more?
Yeah.
All right, this one will be a short one. So this one, let's do the one about greatest of all time, Control Room, from T Meeks. I feel the GOAT term is used too loosely, so what specifications does an artist need to even be considered a GOAT, and do we have any GOATs in hip-hop right now? Yes, we absolutely have GOATs in hip-hop right now. So the first part of the question I think is important. Like, what's our definition? Because this used to be a thing that we didn't have to define, but yeah, now everyone's a GOAT.
Right. I want all young people coming up to believe that they're great, but stop calling yourself a GOAT. Because if you're a GOAT and you ain't did shit, I think in order to be considered a GOAT, you have to stand the test of time. And that's got to be at least 5 to 8 years minimum. Like, you can't just say you're a GOAT because you're good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to put in some work. Like, and that entails everything from having hit records, being dope.
Do you have to have a
impact on
classic
the
album
game.
to be considered a GOAT?
I don't think you have to have a classic album to be considered a GOAT, but that
Longevity.
helps. Yeah, like that definitely helps. But I don't think you have to have like a critically acclaimed classic to be a GOAT, because there's a lot of great people. Essentially, GOAT just is an acronym for greatest of all time.
You could have just
right?
created some of the greatest moments. In
Yeah,
hip-hop,
you
for
could
example,
have a
right?
lot of great moments and be a GOAT. So I just don't like to see young kids who ain't never did one thing but get 5 or 10 million plays on YouTube say, oh, he's a GOAT. It's like, GOAT, you ain't did shit to be a fucking GOAT.
I ain't gonna lie, I look at that whole term differently. Like, even just listening to what you said, I feel like for the most part you're describing legends. Like, you could be a legend. When I think of GOATs, I think of like the top 20 of just rap music, period. You get me?
Current rap music or
No,
all-time rap music?
Overall, there's like 2 GOATs now, like or maybe 3. Or
2 GOATs? What?
Alive?
Drake, Wayne.
Oh,
Okay, M. Yeah, but most of these other names, you're not a GOAT. Like you might be a legend, which is a huge thing. But when I think of when I'm thinking of the greatest of all time,
Yeah.
nah, some of
Okay,
these
so-
niggas.
It's more than 2. It's more than 2
All right,
right
all right,
now.
no,
like-
name some.
I'll say
Okay, Kendrick's in there.
Kendrick is in there. I'll definitely call Kendrick a GOAT.
Cole would go in there.
Cole, I'll definitely put Cole in there. If I'm gonna put Cole and Kendrick in there, I'm putting Meek in there. Because Meek is Meek is great. Listen, Meek got one of the greatest fucking intros ever. How is that not? How does that not put you at GOAT
that
status?
song might be GOAT, but like if we're talking
He
about
has
as
a lot
an
of
artist,
great songs. He's not a great artist. You don't think he's a great artist?
he's a great artist. But that's what I'm saying. When I think of the GOATs, I'm thinking beyond just legend. I'm thinking if we had a short list of
Greatest of all time.
all time,
like,
right?
All time.
So it's not just this generation.
You gotta put up stats.
if we have a short list of, if we're naming top 20s or even top 30s, let's even extend it to a top 35. Is Meek on that list?
Of top 35 of all time.
That's what the term means.
But how do we get this 35 number?
So here's the thing, yeah. So if we're saying the top 35 of all time, so Wayno is saying you don't need to have a classic, a full project. Do you think that you need to do like what's the actual criteria?
Oh, you gotta have a classic. You can't be the
a
greatest.
full classic album, not just
I'm looking at that term very heavily. I'm looking at
So
it.
legends can have classic moments, but GOAT should have
Yeah,
a classic
if you're one of the, we use the word.
So
GOAT,
wait. So
use
a
the
legend
word
can have a
GOAT.
greatest moment. Can a legend have a greatest moment of all time?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that has to be some sort of like we're all making all of this shit
So
up.
that's what
There's
he's
no
saying
book,
to your point. He's
right?
saying you could be a legend if you've impacted the culture, you've done some great things, but we can't point to a body of work and say this was an absolute classic, right? That you're a legend. But he's saying a GOAT must have that body of work, at least one.
You got to
So I'm curious
have,
if people would agree with
Yo,
that.
all right.
When I
So
think
we
about
just-
the GOATs, like, you know, and I wish I could think of a dope basketball reference, but I'm.
You could think of a lot of them. You could think of a lot of them.
Okay.
Quickly.
Say right now, Kyrie Irving, he'll probably go down as a legend, but is he a GOAT? No. You get me? He's really good, and right now he's like one of the top players in the league. But when I think of GOATs, like right now in the NBA, the probably only 3 who qualify, who have done some shit, LeBron, Curry, and KD. You get me? Those are the only. I'm thinking.
Because they have the rings to show for it.
Yeah, but not only that, I'm thinking so top echelon. Like you can't.
But see, and that's and the reason why, look, because if we're gonna stay within basketball, that's gonna be very particular to what's been done.
I don't know if we should stay in basketball then.
We're not gonna stay in bed, but I'll just give one last reference because if we talk in terms of Curry, I'm gonna put Klay Thompson in there as well. You wanna know why? Because Klay Thompson got every single ring that Steph Curry got, and Klay Thompson got 2 of the best moments. He got the most threes in one game ever, and he has the top scoring quarter. He scored 38 points in one quarter ever. Michael Jordan never did that. So what I'm saying is if you have a great moment, and you impact the hip hop culture, then you can be considered a GOAT. If we're gonna use that, Meek has bodies of work. Now, his first album might not be the body of work that you say, oh, this is the best shit from him. His second album is really, really, really good. I wouldn't call it a classic, but I call it really good. And he has a ton of classic moments, a ton of great moments. So I'm putting him in there as a GOAT.
The reason why I had said 35, like the top 35, because
That's a very odd number.
Well, I just randomly picked it. But when you hear greatest is not like a collection of niggas. Greatest means one. Greatest means the
Not
extreme.
really. It doesn't mean one because they had the top 50 players. They was the top greatest players
And they were ranked.
Yeah, they were ranked. That's what I'm saying. So that's why we can't, for all of hip hop and all of hip hop's whole history, we can only pick 35 people.
All right,
There's
all
only
right,
3
all
people
right,
right
even-
now.
all right, even
and hip hop is only 40 years old. It's
but
very young.
Even 50. Like again, if I have to think
50
about
Cent a GOAT.
No. I'm not saying.
I'm just saying.
Of course, 50 is.
Okay.
But
He has a classic album though.
I
He
was
has a classic
saying,
album?
I was saying even the top 50 like hip hop artists of all time, right?
Yeah.
That if we're gonna consider them in that GOAT list, right?
All right.
If I have to think if Meek fits in there, I won't just definitively say he is.
Okay.
You get me? I think that's a
Can
conversation
we pick
to be
an
had.
older example too?
Well, I say
Yeah,
this
I
is
wanna-
another, and this is just, I know we keep going into
No,
sports,
it's fine.
but this is another basketball reference.
What about
this
Ross?
is
Go
another
ahead.
basketball reference, right? You don't have to win a championship. You don't have to win a championship to be in the Hall of Fame, right? You don't have to win a championship to be in the Hall of Fame. And it's a lot of players that was in the top 50 players that didn't win championships. So if we're looking at a classic album, I look at a classic album as a championship, right?
Right.
Let's equate those two. There's people that still can be mentioned with other people that didn't never get a classic album. Not getting a classic album don't mean that you're not a great player. You can be a GOAT.
Is it fair to equate a classic album and a championship since it's like a team effort versus more of a solo effort?
No, because I think a classic
And I
album
feel
is.
like it's easier to win a championship than it is to
Nadeska.
drop a classic album. I'm just asking.
Wait,
Yo, Nadeska
wait,
did one
wait,
panel
wait.
with Jamel
A classic-
Hill, and she kicking knowledge like she about to work
Hold
for
up a
ESPN.
second. Hold up before we get past this, because a classic album is a team effort as well.
It is, but you understand what I'm saying? I feel like it's harder to make a classic album than it is to win a championship.
That's only
and I hope that
because-
doesn't sound stupid, but
I get
Talk your shit,
the
Nadeska.
point that you're making. Stop gassing it. I get the point that you're making, but that's the only reason why is because we're not championing the fucking engineers. Like, the engineers don't win awards. If the engineer got a ring too,
Well,
I mean,
they
they
get
get
a
a
Grammy.
plaque.
They get a Grammy.
They get a Grammy. They get a plaque, but they're not championed in media the way the coach is. You get what I'm saying? So if Kendrick doesn't have the opportunity from a top dog, then what is Kendrick? I always say, let's not talk about fantasy. Let's talk about what it is. So, given with that being on the table, I equate a championship ring to a classic album. You don't get a lot of them, and you stay in the game a long time. Think about Nas or Jay-Z, right? Been in the game 20 years. He ain't win off. He ain't get a classic every time they put something out.
yeah, not at all.
You don't get to put out a classic body work every time you put something out.
I'm not even gonna. I don't even think that's worth that much of a counter argument, because I don't even think that's too much of a bad point.
Okay, I got
only
somebody
thing is-
else for you,
hold on,
too.
The only thing is, like, this greatest of all time term, this GOAT term, I just particularly wanted to be reserved for like the Nas's, the J's, and if I'm gonna put a nigga with them niggas, you gotta have really put up some points in your career.
Right.
We can't just put up anybody with them.
All right.
And also, not because you don't like your jersey doesn't hang in that level of the Raptors doesn't mean you weren't good. You could be a legend.
Right.
You weren't Jordan. You get me? It's only a few
That's
people in
what I'm
that Jordan conversation. Like we talk about GOAT in terms of like basketball, everyone says Jordan, but the people who you throw in the conversation as well, you get what about Russell? What about LeBron? Like we're talking about such high echelon of basketball.
Yeah,
players.
but I mean,
rappers now,
just to
we
be
can't
clear-
just throw in anybody.
I'm not throwing in any, and that's what I'm saying. I brought up Meek, and that's why we having this debate. But I throw Andre 3000 in there.
For greatest?
For greatest.
Well,
I
I don't think anyone could dispute that, though.
Okay, and this is all right. Nobody can dispute that. Why? Andre 3000 has a solo album, right? That was packaged as a double album with his counterpart. He don't have no album with just him rapping start to finish. He's singing and doing melody, all types of shit on there. But I put him in there because of his lyrical ability. He's one of the GOATs. So it's a lot of people. Everybody's criteria. We don't have like the same criteria, but I think everybody has a different reason why you can consider him a GOAT. Because guess what? It hasn't been, if you're looking at the game right now, who is there anybody else right now that does the type of music that Meek does that's on his level?
No.
The same type of music.
Listen, I agree with all that. I believe Meek, when it's all said and done, he'll be a legend. But
Not a GOAT.
No, I just think that's a different conversation. Like YG. Is YG a GOAT?
I don't think he is. But YG hasn't put in the same amount of work and hasn't been in the game as many years as Meek Mill. So that's a whole different conversation.
I feel like we're
What
going
about
to
2
have to
Chainz?
throw
Is
this
2 Chainz
to
a
the-
GOAT? I think we get in that subjective range.
Yeah.
I like to just keep it like, yo, it's clear. Like, there's no
and
debate
also
to be had.
region. And also region too, because honestly, if
I
we're-
don't think it should be regional, though.
No,
That's
no,
the thing.
if it's regional when it comes to Philly, if there's a Mount Rushmore in Philly, Meek is 100% on it.
or even not even just a Mount Rushmore, but a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we should be
per
able to
region.
speak at a national level for this
Yeah,
conversation.
Meek is definitely Hall of Fame. I'd say
Yeah.
the legends are Hall of Fame. The GOATs are the people who, like, we could even make
Change
an
the
argument. Yeah, well, not only that, but, like, they do the Mount Rushmore thing. Like, if we expanded it a little bit more, these are the people that were like, yo, if I'm going to have an argument about who I think the best ever is, and we know it's hip-hop, different from basketball, so there's a lot more moving criteria. We have skill, accolades.
Okay.
You have cultural
We gotta
influence.
go. Just
know,
a note,
I
we
got
gotta go soon, but we should pick this up next
We
week.
should, and I'm gonna just
This
say
is-
this
this is
lastly.
supposed to be a short question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say this lastly, right? Nicki a GOAT. I won't put Cardi as a GOAT yet.
Okay.
But Nicki's a GOAT. Like, she's definitely a GOAT. She's definitely a GOAT.
I think we should have some more discussion about it.
All right,
should.
so actually, I want to throw this to our viewers. First of all, thank you for this great question. We definitely should talk about this some more next week, but we're curious your opinion. Do you think there's a difference between a legend and a GOAT? And if you were to define the difference, what's the criteria? So like using Wayno's example, does Meek count as a GOAT or would you count him as a legend? We're very curious what you guys think. So keep sending us your comments and more questions, and please send it on video. We want to see your faces.
Right.
Sick of reading these tweets, goddammit. But again, thank you for this. We'll see you Monday, 11:30 a.m. on Everyday Struggle.
Will you be there?
Listen,
We'll be here. Will you be there?
The reason why we can't change the time is people be watching this at lunchtime.
Don't cut the lights. For real.
Nah, for real.
Right.
People watch us at lunchtime, and when you just remove yourself out of the lunchtime, I'm eating my food at my desk,
Yeah, well,
watching
we're about
Everyday
to be up
Struggle.
at like 3 p.m. today.
All right, this
so
is one day, man. Get a late lunch.
we
today. I
have
love
to
y'all.
do shit. All right.